guys, how's it going? Collier from North Coast Constrictors. Welcome back to the channel. So I did upload a video last night on New Year's Eve. It was supposed to be the last video of 2022. Posted it, watched it, deleted it. It was far too long, went into too much detail. So what I want to do is just a simplified version. Today is 1st of January 2023, and I thought we'll start off with a really great positive video, and we'll sum up 2022 and what my second year in the breeding industry of ball pythons was like compared to my very first year in 2021. And I want to sum it down for you, and it was vastly different. And it was vastly different for a number of reasons. Obviously, a first year breeder doesn't have as much knowledge, as much experience. Everybody's going to make mistakes. I made a lot of them, sure. Whether it's your setup, your temperatures, doing things that you don't know that you're doing wrong. For example, I moved house halfway through my first breeding season, which caused the bulk of my females to reabsorb all their follicles after they'd locked up. Big mistake. Don't ever move. Don't move your females. So compared to 2021 and to 2022, please understand that we're still in the middle of our breedings. Well, not our breeding season, but our hatchling season right now. So for us, the season is not over for as far as hatchlings go. We've still got an incubator, which is about just over half full of eggs. I've got 2 racks here with hatchlings to my left. One rack is full, one rack is almost half. And we've still got some females in the breeding racks behind me that have ovulated and are about to lay eggs. Some have only just ovulated, some are about to lay eggs. So it's going to be pretty stretched out. The biggest differences that I can take away from 2021 and 2022 is obviously research, studying, and putting in the correct amount. Research is paramount. Before you go out and spend money on ball pythons, if I can give you some solid sound advice, okay? Buy the correct snakes from the get-go. Don't just buy, and I know this is easier said than done now that I've done 2 years of breeding, and I look back and I go, oh, if only I'd known, okay? Sometimes it's impossible, unless you've got like a really good friend that's been doing it for years, and he's not out to try and make a buck off you, and he's selling you ball pythons. He's gonna sell. First of all, no one ever sells their best snakes. If you've got adult proven breeders, something that I've learned very quickly. If you are a new breeder and you're trying to look for adult proven breeders, most of the snakes that you're going to find that are females, adult proven breeders, the guys don't want in their collection anymore for a number of reasons. And I'm not saying all, because I have got adult proven breeders in my collection, which I bought from some of the best breeders in the world. But what it did is it took me 2 years to get to the point where I knew these guys. I had been in the industry. I had traveled to their facilities. I had made friends with them. I had bought other snakes from them. And, then you establish a relationship. I made friends with a lot of guys and then, you end up, you can get lucky and you can get adult proven breeder females and males at a really high end if you've got the money, and that will literally do wonders for your breeding collection. But if you are a new ball python breeder, like I started out in 2021, still am a new ball python breeder, it's only my second season. I bought a bunch of adult proven breeders, 8 females, which I only believe 3 to be proven breeders. The rest were adults, but they weren't proven breeders. And then a bunch of males and other females, yearlings, sub-adults, whatever, where I didn't put enough research and enough, I didn't do my homework, and I bought a lot of snakes that I shouldn't have bought, okay? I did a tally up of the amount of money that I've spent in the last 2 years, a couple of nights ago, and if I look at what I've spent over the 2 years, there would be half of the amount of snakes in this collection right now, and they would be far higher in genetics, okay? I've had to try, I'm still sitting with snakes that I'm trying to sell. I shouldn't have bought them. Now, you're going to look at me and say, well, why did you buy them? Okay, one, I bought them because the breeder that sold them to me told me they were good snakes, but also I was on a budget and you get what you pay for. But, you know, my advice to you is, don't, even if you've got the money and you want to, like, a lot of guys want to have like 10 or 20 snakes, all right? It's better to have 5, like one good male and 4 good females, than to have 20 mediocre snakes. Very, very valuable lesson that I've learned. Like, you know, like I look back on some snakes now that I bought, and I look at it and I go, I would have rather not bought those 10 snakes, and I would have rather bought one of those. Okay, but at the time when you knew and the bugger's bitten you, you want snakes. You see the breeders and you see their collections and you look at all their racks and you see everything. And the ones that they're letting go are the ones that they don't want anymore. Okay, and the hatchlings that they sell, they always keep back the very best of their hatchlings. Okay, now it's up to you to become your own best client. That's another lesson that I've learned. Unless you're willing to spend massive amounts of money, because there are genetics out there for sure that are massive in price, that they don't sell very fast, but the breeders that have got to that level have been doing it for 10 years plus, 5 years plus, but they will always keep back their very best, because why would you sell your best snakes? You keep back your best and you sell like maybe from your 3rd down or your 4th down genetic wise. Okay, so guys, what I've learned is that it takes time to get into the hobby, to learn the genetics, to learn which snakes to pair, and to the correct purchases to make, when to make them, what you can breed to what you can't breed. For example, yellow belly to yellow belly is going to give you super, not all the time, but super yellow belly. So if you know the spider to spider is lethal, champagne to spider is lethal, champagne to champagne is lethal. Okay, I knew all that in the beginning, but what I wasn't clued up on is genetics. Like if I want to do a pod project, or I want to do a lavender albino project, or I want to do a clown project, a recessive project. Like right in the beginning, even after 8 months, I didn't know that if you took a visual recessive and you paired it to any snake, doesn't matter what it is, if it's not the same recessive, it's still going to be, the hatchlings are going to be 100% heterocessive. I didn't even know that even after 8 months of breeding. And I had a mentor that had been doing it for 4 or 5 years, and they had been selling me snakes, and only after about 8 months I found out that I could make 100% heterocessives with snakes in my collection. You know, but you know, I'm going to put the blame squarely on myself for that. So lesson number 1, before you go out and do it, make sure you do your research and you have a goal and a target on what you want to produce. Also, very important, guys, breed the snakes that you like, that you find visually appealing. Okay, the snakes that you look at and you go, wow, I would buy that. Okay, I know that there are snakes out there where you look at it and you go, wow, I would buy that, but they're completely valueless. So that's why you got to be a bit smart. You will look at it, because if you want to do it as a hobby and just breed the snakes for yourself and to have them on display visually, buy the cheap genes, because you can get beautiful black and yellow snakes like Firefly that aren't expensive and they look stunning. Okay, and you can do that, but you're not going to really, you know, if you want to breed them and sell them to make money, if you want to do it on a large scale, you're going to be spending a lot of money on rodents and rat food and supplies and things like that, where you're probably not going to make your money back, and if you're lucky you may be breaking even, but you're probably just going to end up paying for your hobby. Okay, but if you want to produce high-end snakes that sell and that are also visually appealing, you've got to spend the money to do that. A lot of them are recessives with a combination of dominant and incomplete dominant genes that are visual recessives, that aren't just like a plain clown or just a pod or just a desert ghost or just a lavender albino. You're going to get like double recessive, like lavender albino, clown pod, there's a ghost clown, pod, there's a ghost pod, double recessives, things like that, or recessives with a whole bunch of other genes in it, like a leopard yellow belly desert ghost, something like that, you know, or a yellow belly enchi pod, or an orange dream yellow belly enchi pod, something like that. That's recessive with 3 dominant genes and super incomplete dominant genes. You get the super form. Those are the snakes that are gonna sell, and obviously the females are more expensive than the males, but you're gonna pay a lot of money to buy those visuals, okay? And you're going to buy them as hatchlings, because a lot of the guys will hold those females if they're adult proven breeders to carry on in their breeding collection. Once you've established a relationship with some breeders, you maybe become a very good client of theirs, and then they will sometimes open their, if they've got some females that they've got maybe too many snakes in their collection, and it's time for them. That some guys don't want to stay, they want to stay at the same, that they don't want to have more than a certain amount of snakes. You know, there's like a bit of a, I don't want to say an inner circle, but you've built up a relationship before those snakes are advertised anywhere else. You will get offered a snake, or messages will come out to you and say, I've got these snakes from the top breeders. Will say, I've got these snakes for sale, adult proven breeder females. You can see that they're quality genetics. They won't be cheap. You won't find these snakes on Morph Market. You won't find these snakes on Facebook forums or things like that. You'll find them on very exclusive group chats that you may be a part of, but it's going to take you time to get in there. You have to earn your stripes in a way to start getting your hands on really good adult snakes, adults with very good genetics that you can breed the very next season, and start producing snakes that you'll keep back until they are adult. Then you can breed them, and then you can start selling those. So number 2 is time. Have the patience to do that. I thought that in my first season in 2021 that I was going to have a fantastic season. I only had 8 females. I had 3 males. I paired them up. They're all locked. I only got 2 clutches of eggs. 1 clutch of eggs passed away. I didn't make it. I think it had something to do with my setup also moving. I think that the temperature may have spiked. It was quite close to a window. I didn't have a temperature controlled environment. I'm now in a snake room. I've got an air conditioner. The temperature stays at 27 to 28 degrees Celsius consistently, day and night. Everything is temperature controlled, you know, so there's no spike or drop in temperature. Obviously you learn more. Other advice, you know, get yourself a mentor, or 2 or 3 that they're hard to find, and they are out there, especially if it's a guy that you're buying snakes from, a reputable breeder. Find yourselves, guys, buy snakes from reputable breeders. You can see who they are, okay? They have got a massive, when you see their accounts on Morph Market, you see the kind of snakes that they're producing. You know, pricing does say a lot about it. You know, when a good breeder puts a snake up for sale and that's his price and it's high, it's not just guys trying to rip you off. They know what they've put into it. It's that price for a reason, and that's what they're going to stick to. You know, you're going to see Morph Market flooded with lots of dominant and incomplete dominant genes. You're going to see lots of things like spider and yellow belly and I don't know, the list can go on, but just you can just go onto Morph Market and you can see what you can see the prices, how many snakes. Go and have a look at the list of genetics, and see all the different morphs, and go and see how many of each are available, and then go and look at the ones where there's 1, 2, 3, 5, maybe 10 that are available for sale, and you'll check, and you'll go and see, and you'll very soon realize that, okay, there's guys that are just, you know, selling snakes and they're just trying to get rid of them. And the thing is, if you buy that snake, you're just going to be sitting in the same situation. They're going for cheap. If you buy cheap, then you're going to have to sell cheap. It's as simple as that. That's another lesson that I've learned. Don't expect success in the first 2 years, okay? Although I'm doing this video to compare my 2021 season to my 2022 season, which is still underway, I have had a far, far better season in my second season than I have had in my first. And that is because in my just before my second season, after my first season, I had made more friends in the industry. And I'm going to give a shout out to some guys in particular that have really helped me. So when I hit my second breeding season, I had a complete turnaround in my second season. Guys, another reason I'm making this video is because for new ball python breeders. Okay, I was ready to throw in the towel after my first season, after hatching out 2 clutches of eggs only out of 8 females, and out of those eggs only 2 hatchlings survived. 1 clutch of eggs, 5 eggs died. They didn't make it in the incubator. They were gone. The incubator was set up fine, okay, there was nothing wrong. The hatchlings, which I did hatch out, I got 4 eggs out of the 1 female. 1 was a slug, so there were 3 that went full term. They pipped, they started coming out. Unfortunately, 1 of their hatchlings on its way out, the egg was still stuck to the umbilical cord, which was still stuck to the placenta, which couldn't get out the egg. And through struggling and trying to get out the egg, although it soaked up all the albumin, the snake was fully formed. It couldn't break away from the umbilical cord, which was still attached to the placenta, which was still stuck inside the egg, and the snake died. It was a blue-eyed leucistic. I ended up getting 2 hatchlings last year. I'd spent hundreds of thousands of rands. I was absolutely fed up. I was like, stuff it. If this is what it's going to be like breeding ball pythons, I'm out. So this is a message to you guys to say, don't give up. Okay, because I was that close to giving up and I didn't, and I'm glad that I didn't. But what I did is, I'm the kind of person that if something beats me or almost beats me, I'm a fighter. I don't give up. I come back, and I come back harder. So what I did is I studied harder, researched Morph Market, went onto YouTube, watched as many videos as I could, and then also made the right connections in the industry, guys that I can trust, guys, and this is where I'm going to give a shout out to those guys now. Listen to them, more experienced breeders, okay, guys that guided me and put me on the correct path, okay, told me which snakes to get rid of, which snakes to keep, and then which snakes to pair up, what I'll get if I pair that. They were, you know, so much to go into detail. That's why I deleted the last video, because I went into too much detail. It ended up being nearly an hour long, and I was like, oh, this is I got too carried away in the last video. So I wanted to start with 2023 with a more basic, simplified version of it. Okay, don't give up, because my second season is phenomenal. And it's, although you know, I say, to be patient 2 to 3 years before you do anything spectacular. I've been lucky enough in my second season where I have really I've made some spectacular clutches, things that I did not expect to make until year 3. Hatchlings which I've produced that I did not expect to make until year 3, maybe even year 4. I have been very, very lucky, because it is also a game of luck. It's not a game or a hobby, whatever you want to call it. I was preparing quite a lot of visuals to 100% hets, and visuals to 66% pos het and 50% pos het females, which proved out 100% het. So I was lucky, and I made a lot of visuals, you know, and proved out snakes where I'd taken a gamble, and those snakes proved out for me. And it's my gain, and the breeder that sold it to me, his loss. Yeah, he sold those snakes as 66% pos het and 50% pos het, and I bred them to the correct males and proved them out and got visuals in my clutch, which means now that I can take those females now and mark them as 100% het for Pied, or 100% het for Lavender Albino, or 100% het for Clown, and so on and so forth. Okay, so I was there's also a fair amount of luck involved in that. There are markers to look for when you're buying hets, clown markers, pied markers, very, very subtle for clown. Pied markers are a lot easier to pick up, but that's another whole video. You need to watch that with guys that are far more experienced than I. So all in all, guys, 2022, which I'm still in the middle of, I produced 2 clutches of eggs last year. 1 didn't make it, as I say, and I got 2 hatchlings. This year, so far, we've got 10 clutches of eggs. It's 10 clutches that have hatched out. And then we have got another whole bunch of clutches in the incubator. And by the end of the season, with the females that have ovulated and given us a pre-lay shed that are going to lay eggs, I would say between 23 and 25 clutches of eggs that we're going to hatch out. But what I did though is I bought, after the, before, when I decided that I wasn't going to throw in the towel, because you can't carry on breeding what you have. I bought some of correct snakes for sure, but I'd also bought a lot of the incorrect snakes. So in order to make it a better season for me in 2022 and 2023, I had to spend more money. I couldn't breed what I had. Otherwise I was just going to repeat. It was just going to be like a hamster on a wheel. Okay, I had to go and buy more snakes, especially females, and I had to go and buy a couple of powerhouse males that we're gonna, I had to buy at least 3 or 4 females to pair up to powerhouse males. And then I had to look at some of the females in my collection and go, okay, they're going to do nothing for me. The only way I'm going to be able to do anything with these snakes is to pair them up to a very powerful recessive male, make 100% hets, wait 3 years, keep back all the females, wait 3 years, breed them, and then sell those and hope pair them back to the visual male. Like for example, I've made a whole bunch of 100% het desert ghosts that have got multi-genes in them. Just as an example for snakes, females that I shouldn't have bought. Now, I couldn't sell them. For love or money, I couldn't sell them. And they'll still sit in my collection now, and I'll probably end up almost having to give them away, okay? Because I'm not going to be keeping them, all right? Some of them have proved out 100% het. The incomplete dominance, the ones that I've got now, I will more than likely breed them again to double visual recessives males this season, and create some more 100% hets, and then sell them next year. And I'm probably going to have to sell them for almost nothing. But the thing is, I can't keep everything. So what I've done is I'm busy in the process of streamlining my entire collection, and I'm keeping only the best back. So for the next 2 years, the bulk of the snakes that I produce and the visuals that I produce, they're all going to be holdbacks and building blocks for better projects, because my end goal and my end game is to be a high-end breeder producing visual double recessives, visual triple recessives mixed with dominant and incomplete dominant genes. That's where I want to get to one day. And sometime in the very far future, quad recessives. I'm still years and years away from that. I'm very close to very close to producing double recessives, which I will be producing next year, next season, and the year after, but more than likely the year after that, 2025, triple recessive visuals. Okay, and it's a process, and it's a long process. You're going to be spending money. It's going to be time consuming. It's not just the snakes, guys. To feed these snakes, you have to have a large bank account and buy your rodents, because for me to feed my snakes will probably cost me between 8,000 and 10,000 rand a month if I had to buy the rodents myself. I breed my own rodents, and it probably costs me about 2,500 rand a month on rodent food to breed. But the thing is, that's another whole operation. Breeding the rodents twice a week, topping up the water, topping up the food, once a week, cleaning the tubs, fresh sawdust, poultry sorb, everything, making sure that they're breeding, cycling the males through the females, taking the weaned rat rodents out, putting them in separate containers, holding containers, growing them up. It's a job in itself. However, it's either that or have a shit ton of money to spend on just buying rodents to feed your snakes. You're gonna pay I would say 5 times more per rodent to be able to feed your collection. And that'll add up if you've got, you know, close on 200 snakes like I have in my collection. So that's another, that's be prepared for that. I've got a full-time job, I've got a day job, and then I come home and it's full-time here until 10 o'clock at night. I'm up at 4:30, 5 in the morning. I'm in the snake room for an hour to 2 hours before I even go to work, and then on the weekends, every weekend, the whole of Saturday morning is at the rodent facility, the whole of Saturday afternoon, and most of Sunday it's in the snake room. And that's just cleaning what I have, like this stuff like during the week I'm spot cleaning, changing water, and doing things like that, so that on the weekend, it's not the whole weekend, at least I've got a couple of hours or so. Guys, be prepared to sacrifice a lot of time if you are a one-man operation. My girlfriend helps me a lot in the thing with this project. She doesn't handle the snakes, she handles the rodents mostly, so she's the one that takes care of the rodents and makes sure that they've, well, we go up to the facility together. They're not at the same facility. I keep the rodents and the snakes separate. We go up once a week and we clean the tubs together while she's busy changing the sawdust and all of that. I'm busy fixing the water system, all the nipples that supply the water, make sure there's no leaks, mending some, you know, fixing things. If the, you know, rats can chew through things, they can chew on the pipes, they can, water nipples can get stuck and they flood the tubs. You got to change those nipples out. I do that kind of stuff and then help afterwards. But then in the middle of the week, I go up to the facility and I go and put fresh water and food and check on the rodents, make sure everything's okay, check for pinkies, separate mothers. I've got maternity racks, so I take, if I see any new pinkies with moms, I take them out, put them in maternity racks. I find it helps me produce more better rodents. It gives the moms a break from the males just jumping straight back on them and pumping them again so that they pop out another pile of pinkies in 21 days. You know, it gives them a break. Okay, so that's just one aspect of it. Guys, I want to start wrapping this up now. As I said, 2022 is not over yet, guys, but it's been fantastic. I have had a great season so far. I'm not going to go into much detail. I just want to wrap up the season by pulling out my most beautiful snake. A very big surprise this year. I'm not going to go into detail about this snake, except to say that he has got an unexpected gene, which we only found out this year when we bred him for the first time. He's a first-year breeder. He was sold to me as a fire clown. He has got blade in him, and there's also another gene in him, but I'm not going to go into detail of what that gene is because I've already done so. But what it's done is this snake has surprisingly given me an incredible clutch of eggs that has kind of done, he's actually got another clutch of eggs in the incubator, and there's another female that's supposed to have laid already, but she's taken quite a long time to lay. But this boy here, his name is Comet. He is an absolute specimen. He's one of the most beautiful clowns you're going to see. There is another gene in him, but what I'm doing is that I'm calling it my Dinka project. I'm going to prove him out. I'm going to prove the gene. I know what it is. There's a lot of people that know what it is. It's been confirmed. But the only, you know, there are a couple of guys that are telling me that I don't have the gene. And I'm listening to it and I'm not ignoring it. I don't believe I don't have it. I believe that I do have it. And I'm going to do that by proving out the hatchlings, because none of them are for sale. I'm going to be pairing this guy to some very special females this in 2023, okay, which is going to categorically silence the critics and who've been telling me that I don't have the gene, and it's going to validate the breeders that have told me that I do have the gene as well as myself. Guys, I want to give a shout out to the following guys who have really made 2022 possible for me and given me hope and basically helped me from throwing in the towel. Okay, these guys helped me, guided me. They basically, kind of took me under their wing as a new breeder, and advised me and did all the things that you need as for a mentor. And I was quite lucky to have a few of them. And I want to give a shout out specifically to, and in no particular order, Ant McKenzie from McMorphs here in South Africa. And not only are you one of the best breeders out there, I know you fly very under the radar. Your projects and your snakes are next level, but you should be on YouTube and you should have 50,000 followers. I know you don't like that kind of stuff. You hate it, but your projects are just next level. Okay, and Ant has been instrumental in my breeding project. He's also helped me. I speak my mind a lot, and sometimes I say things, and even on my YouTube channels where Ant is like, don't say that. And there are other guys too that now I have to edit and change things out, because sometimes I can get a bit carried away, and kind of keeps me a bit grounded. Okay, so Ant, you've become a very good friend. You're a legend, my mate, and thank you for all the help this year. Joe Tully from Tully's Regis Royals in the UK. Although Joe and I have never met, he reached out to me on YouTube, and he saw I was a new breeder, and I was basically saying I didn't know what I had, and he enjoyed my style. He liked the way I came across on YouTube. He reached out to me. We have become good friends, although we've never met in person. He's been instrumental in the 2022 breeding season for me, as well as what's going to happen in 2023 and 2024. So Joe, you're an absolute legend, mate. Also another guy that flies under the radar, but he has got YouTube and he has got Instagram. Guys, go and give him a follow. Tully's Regis Royals. Rob Barraclough from Royal Balls. One of the most knowledgeable guys I've never met him in person. He lives in Southeast Asia. Rob I met through Joe, and Rob has been instrumental in helping me with my setup, identifying genetics, understanding genetics. I still my brain is still fried with some of the stuff that he's trying to explain to me, which comes very easily to him, but very difficult to somebody like me who's new to the industry. Rob has done more for me with identifying and knowing genetics and how to keep and breed snakes. I don't want to say more than anybody else, because then it takes away from Ant and Joe, which is not true. Everybody's equal, okay? Rob, thank you for everything that you have taught me. And when I've asked a question, Rob doesn't give a one-word answer. It's an essay, and it is thorough, and it is exact, and it is backed up with scientific fact. And not only that, more importantly, experience. So thank you, Rob. I just want to give you a shout out for how you've helped me this season and the guidance that you've given me. Wally van der Walt and Rassie Erasmus from BPM Reptiles, Ball Python Morphs, BPM Reptiles, BPM Exotics. But anyone in South Africa, and also guys that in the world, other breeders all over the world. These guys are world famous. The top breeders in the world will know exactly who they are. Everybody in South Africa that's in the ball python industry knows who Wally van der Walt and Rassie Erasmus are. Wally and Rassie, you guys have been instrumental as well in helping me get the snakes that I need in order to make my future projects a success, and to put me and my little North Coast Constrictors project on the map sometime in the next 2 years. The snakes that I've purchased from you this year are going to be instrumental in next year's season. Thank you for taking all my phone calls and reading all my text messages and answering them and giving me the information that you've given me and guiding me and helping me throughout the year. Also, thank you for the snakes that you've sold me. You have sold me absolute quality. Same as Ant McKenzie. Joe and Rob live overseas. I haven't imported any snakes from them. If they were here in South Africa, I would most certainly be one of their customers. But Ant McKenzie lives here in South Africa. I have bought a few snakes from Ant, very, very high-end projects. And I have bought from Wally and Rassie as well, very, very high-end snakes. So thank you to you guys, and for allowing me to purchase those snakes from you and to add them into my breeding collection, especially the adult proven breeder females, and especially the ones that are not adult proven breeders but are going to be ready to breed this season, because it's going to make my 2023 season phenomenal. Also shout out to Michael Jones. I've got some a fantastic desert ghost, two fantastic desert ghosts, well, a visual male desert ghost from Michael, multi-gene powerhouse, and then female 100% het desert ghost with a whole bunch of other genes in them. Also from Ann McKenzie, another powerhouse female, multi-gene 100% het desert ghost. Plus I've got from a couple of other guys, all 100% het desert ghosts. Unfortunately, I don't have any visual desert ghost females, but they're all, I would say 80% of them, the 100% hets, are going to be ready to breed this year, and I've got powerhouse males ready for them. The most powerful one being from Michael Jones, who was also one of the guys that were instrumental in helping me streamline my projects and guiding me in the right direction here also in South Africa, on what to keep, what to get rid of, and then what to pair together to get the best possible results out of my collection. And also he's a wizard with IDing snakes. You know, if something pops out, I usually, the guys that I've all mentioned, all get pictures of the snakes. Guys, please help me ID these snakes, and these are the guys that have done it. So because of those guys, my 2022 season was a complete turnaround. It kept me in the business. It gave me hope. It made me carry on with breeding ball pythons, and I'm loving it. I'm thrilled. I'm satisfied with what I've done in 2022. It's not even finished yet. I cannot wait for 2023 because it's going to be mind-blowing. And 2024 and 2025, when I breed these hatchlings that I've produced now, that's going to be something to look forward to. So from almost throwing in the towel to now knowing that in the next 2 to 3 years I'm going to have a how do I say this without, I want to be confident without being arrogant. I'm going to be able to supply you, the guys out there that are wanting to get into it, and if you want to buy snakes, I'm going to be confident in selling snakes to you that I know are only going to benefit you and add value to your collection. I've got wonderful genetics, and I know that I'm going to be selling quality snakes, and that's because of the guys that I've just mentioned and buying snakes from the right guys. So guys, thank you for all your help. Guys, the rest of you, you're the aspiring ball python breeder, don't give up just yet. It is heartbreaking at times. There are days that you're going to want to throw in the towel just like me, and then there's days when you cut open a clutch of eggs, they pop, they pip, they come out the eggs, and you look at it and you go, it's all worth it. And that feeling overshadows any doubt you ever have when on the days that are dark, the days that you want to give up. There's nothing better. So hold the line, stay focused, don't give up, carry on breeding. If I can do it, I promise you, you can do it. I want to wish everybody a happy new year. Today is the 1st of January 2023. I wish you and your family and your loved ones a blessed year, a prosperous year, a healthy year. And if you in the middle of your season now and you're hatching out eggs, I hope you hit all the odds. If you're in the northern hemisphere and you're busy pairing up, I wish you a successful season as well, and I hope you hit all the odds. Guys, please like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. It really helps the channel. Those guys that I've mentioned, go and follow them. I know that Ant McKenzie's on Instagram, but he doesn't have a YouTube channel. Michael Jones is on Instagram, but he doesn't have a YouTube channel. Wally van der Walt, Rassie Erasmus, they are on Instagram. BPM Reptiles, Joe Tully, Rob Barraclough, both got YouTube channels are on Instagram as well. Definitely the guys to go. And Michael Jones is on Instagram, Jones Boys 9355. But if you go back and watch my previous videos, I've done a lot of videos on those guys. I have got their tags and their handles, but you will find them on Instagram and some of them on YouTube. Guys, that's it from me. Over and out. It's been a wonderful experience. I can't wait to see what the future brings. Take care. We'll see you on the next video.